during commercial, sure. Yep.
In celebration of NASCAR's 50th anniversary, CBS Sports coverage of the NAPA Auto Parts 300 is sponsored by the 6,200 NAPA Auto Parts stores nationwide, Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and by Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Today's overhead shots courtesy of Goodyear's blimp Stars and Stripes. This year Goodyear will double its blimp fleet to 6, adding 2 blimps in Europe and 1 in South America.
Mike, the lead group has reduced itself to 4 cars. They broke away a little bit right now. You can see Mark Martin has moved into second, and just behind him, Tony Stewart.
Martin drafted underneath Jeff Purvis. There's Purvis's number 4, which got back in line in 4th, and somehow they lost Michael Waltrip and the rest of what was a 10-car freight train. Bill Stevens.
Ted Brown is the crew chief for Michael Waltrip. You guys started 27th, you got up to 5th, now he's falling back. What's going on?
Oh, well, Michael's doing a great job in the Band-Aid Ford. Pretty good pit stop to get us up front. All the guys worked real hard. Right now, he's just kind of riding. He said he's got plenty left. Maybe I'll be able to bring my wife, Susan, home a good Valentine's present.
Looks like Michael's going to sit still for a while, guys.
There's Michael Waltrip, second in the qualifying race for the Daytona 500, and presently running in 9th place, or rather in 5th place here.
He got shuffled just a little bit when they made that pass up in front of him, and it caused him to lose the draft. But once before, about 15 laps ago, he was about this far behind, and he led that group of cars back to him. So we'll see if he can catch him again. I think
you're exactly right. If Dick Trickle will just stay where he's at, and you see Buckshot Jones, all 3 of those cars are very quick. If they'll stay in draft like they are, they'll get in the front group.
Chevy and Ford at the front of the field. There's your front 4. And let's move back to find Mike McLaughlin and the rest of that group that's been battling from 13th position on back. There's Randy LaJoy right there. And back to the front where Mark Martin drops way low on the banking, tracking Joe Nemechek.
Look at that right window there. You can see the pressure of the wind coming around that car at 200 miles an hour. Look how it's making it vibrate there. That's just the air going by the right side of the car.
Bobby Hillin, John Andretti, Dave Blaney, and Mike Wallace in that pristine-looking number 15.
John Andretti, number 96. Mike Wallace in the white 15. Dave Blaney in the 93 on the outside. Then comes Phil Parsons in the car number 10.
This is a race for 18th position. And they pull up on that green and blue machine of Mark Green, who started 40th and has climbed to 16th. Elliott Sadler down to the apron of the racetrack. He's been in and out of the garage area and no longer a factor.
Being shown 30 laps down, Elliott Sadler is.
Joe Nemechek looks back at Mark Martin, the winningest driver in series history. There's Mark Green, has gained 24 positions. So has Mark Martin. Michael Waltrip has advanced 22 spots from where he started.
And Michael Waltrip did draft back up to that front four, then pulled away there for a moment.
That's a good feeling when you have a car that's that strong that you can get back in the draft and then run that front group back down. He pulled right up on the back bumper. Now he dropped back again, but he's got a great car today, Michael Waltrip does.
And it just keeps on going in the back of that pack. They just cannot seem to link up single file. Somebody always wants to make a run, and somebody's always willing to go with them.
You know, sometimes, especially when you don't have a lot of experience here at Daytona, you run up behind another car and say, I can go faster than he can if I could just get in front of him. And many times you get in front of him, you go slower than what you were going.
John Andretti's at the head of the second pack there, that red and blue 96. Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement, is right behind him. Then Mike Wallace and Mark Green.
Spencer driving number 12 this year. Fans will remember that he drove number 20 for the last few years in this Busch Series of NASCAR.
Now that group of mostly Winston Cup drivers have linked single file.
They know that's what they need to do.
Unlike many major sports, NASCAR allows its top echelon Winston Cup drivers to moonlight in the other series when they have an off day or off weekend, and quite a number of them choose to run this 300-miler at Daytona on Saturday on the eve of the Great American Race. You are sitting on the back bumper of the leader, Joe Nemechek. Dick Berggren.
Joe Nemechek's crew has just radioed to him and told him, don't worry at all about what's going on behind you. Just protect the bottom and stay where you are. Nemechek so far has dominated this race. It's a little bit of a surprise when you look at the record book, because until today, he had only led 6 laps. But if you'd taken a poll of the crew chiefs in the garage this morning, they all said this was the car to beat.
As we ride with Joe Nemechek for a moment, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has pulled his car back out on pit road, but now they're pushing it back behind the wall again.
Let me take you down in the first turn. Here goes Joe Nemechek. You can see him turning down right on the bottom of the racetrack. That white line there divides the flat part of the apron. That's the racetrack right there above the white line. Now out to the wall, down the back straightaway, over 3,000 feet down through here. You run very close to the wall. Reason for that, you set yourself up to make this dive back into turn 3, right back on the bottom. You'll see his hands fairly still right there. Now, if he starts to get closer to the straightaway, watch his hands get a little more intense on the wheel. Now he goes off the corner, off turn 4, out against the wall, and back into the tri-oval.
And every one of those black marks on the asphalt was someone else's 190-mile-per-hour misfortune. Mark Martin, that black car in second place. And here's Dale Earnhardt Jr., the rookie, back on the Speedway.
24 laps down.
You would probably ask, why would he want to be back out there? It's a long time. He's a very, very young driver. He needs track time. You can't get better situations than race situations.
He needs the track time, plus he was running for points in this series this year. And so every position that you can possibly pick up means that many more points.
That's right, Ned. This is the first of 31 races for the Busch Grand National Series. The biggest track they run, 2.66-mile Talladega Super Speedway. The smallest, 1/3 mile Hickory, North Carolina. They run on 25 tracks in 19 states. but never before today, and they will run for $1 million.
That's not good. You could almost see a trouble coming there. Jeff Burton got tagged by the John Andretti car, the 96 there. It was because the 9 car had actually drifted up and almost got into an outside car there. That was a wreck that didn't happen, folks.
You did a great job of pulling out. You're right, buddy. That was awfully close to a victory.
That happened at about 18th position. In 50 laps, we've had 1 lead change, 2 caution flags, and 4 cars in the garage area. That's brought the average speed down to 141 miles per hour.
Mike, you just never know at Daytona. It can happen so quick. We're watching these cars come through the corner, and all of a sudden one car drifts a little, touches another, and you have the making for about a 15-car pileup if everybody doesn't do the right thing.
Randy LaJoie there is leading that second pack of cars. Randy is currently now in the 10th position. He's a 2-time champion of this division. There's the pole sitter right behind him, Mike McLaughlin.
Very high line through the corner there for McLaughlin. His car must be pushing a little bit, and he's using a higher line to keep the momentum of the car going until they can adjust on it on pit stop. But most of the time, you do what the front car does. If Randy LaJoie goes high, you normally go high, but you see him in this corner, he goes in right on the bottom, so he's running 1 and 2 high. He has something wrong with the car down there. So you think you can see good, do you?
You're with Mike McLaughlin, right behind Randy LaJoie. As Buddy said, things happen here in a wink of an eye. Let's show you that once again. What happened at turn 4.
Okay, you can see the 17 there. Matt Kenseth slows up. Here comes the 9 car. He almost gets in. Now John Andretti gets into the left rear side there. Had he turned him around, all those cars behind the 96 would have been in that wreck.
Matt Kenseth, brand new paint, new sponsor as of today, and Glenn Allen Jr. John Munson and crew working on that car that was well up in the air. The first caution flag of the day. On the point, Joe Nemechek. Right behind him, Mark Martin. None of Martin's 32 Busch Series races wins have come here at Daytona. Finished 3rd here in 1996. This is his 11th start in the 300. CBS Sports coverage of the NAPA Auto Parts 300 continues after this message and a word from your local station.
We're back at Daytona. This is the NAPA 300, the Grand National cars, and the prelude to the Great American Race tomorrow. 140 miles have been completed to the 300-mile distance. And as you watch these cars, you watch Nemechek out in front, looking like he's controlling this race. But keep your eye on that number 60, Mark Martin, running in second. Just a year ago, he set the new record in Grand National racing for the most wins, 32, but he's never won in a Grand National race here at Daytona. You're riding with him now as again he closes on Nemechek. Let's go back to Mike Joy.
Thanks, Ken. 57 laps complete. Mark Martin started 26. He's gained 24 positions. Tracy Leslie's climbed up 21 spots, and Larry Pearson, who took the champion's provisional, has advanced 20 positions from 43rd starting spot. Lapping has begun. The race leaders have put Brad Loney, Rick Fuller, Andy Santerre, and Ed Berry are lapped down. Mike Dillon, Elton Sawyer, 2 or 3 laps down. Glenn Allen, 6 laps off the pace. So we're starting to get into a little traffic here.
At the speed these cars are running, Mike, they are pulling away from the rest of the field, these 4.
Dick Berggren?
Well, we've been doing a little eavesdropping down here, Mark. Listening to Mark Martin talk to his crew, and Martin says that he is really impressed with Joe Nemechek. And I'll tell you what, if Mark Martin is impressed with Joe Nemechek, we better be too. Nemechek's crew, meanwhile, has told him that he is pulling this whole line of cars coming out of the corner. That's engine and chassis.
Good point, and it takes both. Here
I was just looking, Mark Martin's running pretty well too. Just then they come down off turn 4. Mark Martin's running very well. And you know, if you're running as well as they are right now, and you're getting the lap times and everything, if you run along in second, save a little fuel, do what you have to do, and know that you have a car. If you need to move, you can. How important is that just to ride along like this?
Joe Nemechek leads 3 cars, and the interval from 4th back to 5th now 4.6 seconds.
And they now have put a lap on Robert Presley, Matt Hutter, and Stevie Reeves.
Look at that gap. Doesn't look like much on the racetrack, but when you're that 5th place car, that's eternity from you to the 4th place bumper.
When you take the fastest car in the field and put him in lap traffic, it only gets faster when he gets in the draft with slower cars. So that's why they gapped it out there like that.
Halfway for Joe Nemechek. 11 of 30 races last year were won by the driver leading at halfway. And Nemechek, in that tearful finale at Homestead last November, the most recent winner on this tour. Tony Stewart, the rookie, right back of those front 2. You're riding with Mike McLaughlin. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, he's picked up a bit of a vibration. These are wheel weights, the same things that you would have on your personal street car. The crew seems to think he's thrown one of these off of the car. That would cause a vibration that Mike is feeling. They don't think the tire's been on the car for enough laps for the tire to have equalized. They'll be checking this when he comes in.
22 different drivers have won this race in its 39 runnings. Joe Nemechek trying to become the 23rd. Dale Earnhardt won this 7 times. Bill Dennis, who now lives here in Florida, 3 times in a row. Leroy Yarborough, the first back-to-back winner in 62 and 63. That 62 race ran caution-free. Let's have a look, see how one of the rookies is faring. Make that 2 of the rookies. National NASCAR Modified champion Rick Fuller from Massachusetts, behind Iowa's Brad Loney. This team that Fuller drives for made a switch at the end of last season. Fords for Chevrolets.
You see Fuller riding along there first time at Daytona with his right hand on the shifting lever. He's just taking it easy. He's riding along here. Or it might have tried to jump out of gear on him earlier, and he might have to do that.
Evidently he does, buddy, because he didn't even take his hand off the gear shift in the turn. Driving with his left hand. I do that a lot on the highway. Maybe that's not good.
Back up front, this 4-car express continues to roll out of turn number 4.
Stevie Reeves had just made a pit stop. He's going back out on the track. He had gone a lap down. Jason Keller has now gone a lap down. 25 cars being shown on the lead lap.
Of those front four, though, Ned, 3 NASCAR veterans, 1 rookie, Tony Stewart. The Joe Gibbs number 44 sitting in 3rd spot. Tremendous open wheel racer. Not a lot of super speedway closed wheel experience.
Yeah, he won the IRL championship last year, and Joe Gibbs says, you know, this kid's got great talent. I'm going to recruit like I used to when I was at the Redskins.
Let's go a little further back in the field there where Jimmy Spencer runs 17th and pulls this pack around. 63 laps complete at Daytona. Joe Nemechek leads Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Purvis, Dick Trickle, and Roy Buckshot Jones. We'll be right back. This is a great group here. You know what I mean.
Yo, yowza.
Hey, Bro back in the race.
Look at this. Led by Jimmy Spencer, Shane Hall.
Who are the 2 leaders? Don McLaughlin and Nemechek? Yeah, I need to be able to see that sheet with the cautions and stuff if there's a place we can put it to do that. That's okay. That's all right, thanks.
What is the window? They stopped at 24, so they can go.
Yes.
This
good, Lance. Good.
Yeah, Lance. How are you?
Hey. This CBS Sports race summary is sponsored by Wrangler.
Yes, sir.
Lance, next break, can we talk to the pit guys and get some strategy on that fuel stop? Thanks.
Oh, chicken wing, giving me a hard time. All right.
Is that Little Wing?
Little Wing.
No, it was Chicken Wing.
No.
Okay.
A wang, yeah. Yo. Ooh, don't say that. Oh.
Okay.
This CBS Sports race summary is sponsored by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
At 63 laps, Mike McLaughlin led the first 7. Joe Nemechek led the rest of the way. Average speed now back up to 148 miles an hour. 2 cautions for 9 laps. Out of the race, Joe Bessie, Jeff and Mark Crow, and Mike Cope. Ralph Shaheen.
Mike McLaughlin down pit road. The guy they call the big guy, Steve Helwig, puts 2 rounds of wedge into the right side of the car. They'll change tires on both sides. Also, crew chief Gary Cogswell putting in some wedge to the left side of the car. The car was a little bit loose. They wanted to tighten him up. Hopefully by changing tires, they'll get rid of that vibration.
24.7-second pit stop for Mike McLaughlin, the pole sitter, and he will go 1 lap down to the leader. From Waterloo, New York.
We might be getting closer to regular pit stops. Of course, McLaughlin, the first one of those on the lead lap to make a pit stop, but others might be coming in before too long.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Brian Patty is crew chief for Joe Nemechek. He's talking to him right now on the radio. And Brian, you've been walking up and down pit road. What kind of deals have you been able to cut?
I feel like I'm in Las Vegas. Now we're just trying to get together, see if we can get a drafting partner. I got a little stomach problem, and I just think that what happened in the Twins with Jeff Gordon's going to happen with me, and I'm trying not to let that happen. I thought with the 60, the 44, and the 4, and we all got a common agreement. We're all going to come in lap 83 and get tires and go back out. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's the deal. They've all been walking up and down, all talking to each other. The deal has been cut. We'll see if it gets paid off, Mike.
And the importance is if they all pit together, they can all come back up and reform that drafting pack.
Well, we can talk a little bit about what happened to Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon made a pit stop and lost track position and never was able to regain it. So it's very important to stay with the fast cars when you make your pit stop.
Bill Stevens?
Well, I can add to the deal that these crew chiefs are making on pit road here, Mike. Not only are they deciding when they're going to come in, but how many tires the cars are going to take. For instance, 4 tires is going to be the deal for Nemechek, Mark Martin, and Tony Stewart. That's the way it looks on the table right now.
Mike McLaughlin may have set the stage for that with his 4-tire change under green. Nemechek is the leader. Mark Martin rides in second. Tony Stewart is third. Jeff Purvis is fourth. That's that 4-car draft up front.
Just looking at the cars, they're starting to take different lines through the corners. They're not sticking very well, and I'm afraid the tires may be giving up just a little bit right now.
Well, as they race on, the track will get a little bit greasier as they lose a little bit of water and a little bit of oil and a little bit of grease on the track and the tire rubber combination, and it gets a little bit slicker, and they do start sliding around as those tires get hot and worn.
Big gap from 4th place there. Jeff Purvis back. Now here's John Andretti with a green flag pit stop. Let's go to the pits.
Mike, it looks like they're going to take right side tires. They got hooked up a little bit with the air hoses that came around from the front. They put 2 tires, gassed them up, and he's underway.
Now the interval from this group back to the second pack is now 7.3 seconds. So this fast freight is stretching it out over the rest of the field. There's the interval as you watch from the blimp. It's, gosh, nearly a straightaway. There's Dick Trickle. New colors for the Dennis Shoemaker number 64 team. Trickle is the 5th place car. 00 is Buckshot Jones. He's in 6th.
And the 3rd car there, that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's just getting a lot of experience. He had trouble in the first part of the race, and right now he's just riding, getting experience.
Now back to the 7th place car in line. That's the number 21 of Michael Waltrip, and 63 Tracy Leslie runs in 8th place. Lapped car just ahead of them. You see how this field has really been split up by this long green flag run. Leslie 63 in 8th. And they're gapped out pretty well around the racetrack, working some lap traffic. Back to 9th place would be Hermie Sadler. Then Matt Kenseth, Randy LaJoy, Mike Wallace. Now there's Sadler, the older of the 2 racing brothers from Eastern Virginia.
On the same team this year, Gary Bechtel-owned team.
There's Tim Fedowa. He is a lap down in that 33 car, and the 43 of Stevie Reeves is 2 laps down.
After some pit stops and lapping on the track, there are 23 cars being shown on the lead lap.
Ed Barrier 2 laps back. And number 77. Then we'll pick up that battle that's been raging on since about the 20th lap. And at the front of that group is 17, Matt Kenseth, who fell from 4th to 20th after his pit stop, but he's climbed back up to 10th. Number 74, Randy LaJoy, is 11th. That white car is Mike Wallace in 12th. Then number 8, Bobby Hillin Jr., 13th.
You're riding with Randy LaJoy as they head down towards the tri-oval in the front straightaway here. You see them nose to tail as they go along the front straightaway here. Randy's trying to get back up to the lead.
He's got a little help. Mike Wallace right behind him. And Matt Kenseth just ahead. That's Bobby Hillin Jr., number 8. That's 10th through 13th position. 14th will be Jeff Burton, number 9. And then Kevin Schwantz. There's Burton and Schwantz in number 88, the David Ridling car, the former Grand Prix motorcycle champion. Dave Blaney right behind him in 16th spot, number 93. Ken Squire?
I'm really impressed with the old Buckeye Bullet. This is a dirt track racer out of the World of Outlaws, where he had 10 main event wins. His brother's going to take over his ride for the year in the Outlaws, but for his first performance on a super speedway, talk about gathering experience. Watch that Amical car. That is the Buckeye Bullet himself from the World of Outlaws. Blaney's looking very strong here.
Right behind him, Ken, number 85, Shane Hall, the South Carolina driver, in 17th. And a bit of a gap back to Jimmy Spencer, Bill Parsons, Stanton Barrett, Larry Pearson, and Dale Fishline. Those are the lead lap cars. There's Andy Santerre, that yellow machine, who is 1 lap down, the rookie from Maine. Leaders will be pitting. And we'll be back to cover some of those stops here in Daytona Live after this.